What is up, guys? Today I just want to take a look at my top 10 champions that are a lot better when played in Diamond, Master or Challenger. These are going to be based on the champs being more effective with a higher skill player playing them, or the champion is more useful surrounded by better teammates, or kind of a mix of both. This is a video with the folks over at Pro Guide, so thank you again to them for editing this together for me. Links to their guides and Genius feature is down below. So let's just crack on straight away with Karma at number 10, and just so you know, this is based on my experience plus a lot of research and stats, win rates and different elos, stuff like that I've looked up to back up my ideas. And by the way, if you want to see these for other elos like gold or bronze, then like this video and let me know in the comments. So Karma is played a lot in the LCS, right, and at higher elo, and is much more successful when the players around you are just better. Sure, okay, part of it is the Karma player anyway, like your AoE shield at the right time, like when team fights, instead of spamming damage like a lot of people do. You have your tether to root people, which means you're quite good at roaming. You can run into a lane, root them down and get a kill that way. Even your early lane pressure means a lot in the game. A lot of it is just kind of playstyle though, like in the general game. So like in the lane phase, you want your AD to be a bit more aggressive with you in the lane phase, not just sit back and farm or not really know what to do. In team fights, you really want to all engage or run away together on the same page with your shield and your speed up. Like Karma is an amazing kite or pick champion, but if you're not on the same page, then it's not really going to help you very much. Also, she's actually played a lot top as a tank and mid as a mage. It's important in both to pick the right spell to mantra, so W to heal and duel people, Q to do damage, shield to kite and speed up. Both of them really rely on their team, and they're more of like a supporty carry, providing damage but a ton of utility. So next up is Kog'Maw, definitely one of the trickier AD carries to play and actually kind of hard to place in this video. There are a lot of really good high elo Kog players, but there are also a fair few scripting high elo Kog players that definitely kind of inflate the win rate, make it seem better than it is. Now saying that, Kog has probably the highest damage output in the game when used correctly, and most of it honestly is kind of attack moving and then a bit of positioning. Korean Kog'Maw players actually use key bindings to focus enemy champions and ignore minions to attack move so quickly. That's kind of why it's so hard to tell if someone is scripting or not. Now that is obviously very high level and requires insane mechanics to do properly, but it's not just about the Kog player either. So at lower ranks, people tend to lean towards diving into fights rather than peeling, and Kog may be dishing out loads of damage, but he doesn't do much when he's running away or he's just dead on the floor. This is one reason why I think it's harder to do so well on Kog at lower ranks. Like you have to position basically perfectly to avoid damage without the help of your team. I do think you can be effective at lower ranks with him still. If you aren't focused or you get ahead, then he'll just rip through everyone, but he's just a lot more effective at higher elo. Positioning should be better, pill should be, and he's very item reliant, so in theory more farm, more items, better chance to win. Next up is Azir. Originally he was one of the champions who kicked off this whole video idea, but the more I thought about it, the more I kind of just realized he can suck at any elo. He does fit this idea of better team, better player means a much more effective Azir, but like soldiers are very position based, right? Combos are kind of hard to pull off and to know the right time to use, but the damage output is crazy when you use it properly. The thing is, we've all seen bronze players completely scrub the combos, but we've also seen professional players completely scrub the combos as well. No matter whether you're high elo or low elo, you have the same kind of issues, and that puts him quite high up in this video still. Now let's be honest though, okay, he requires a fair amount of mechanics. His lane phase is a little awkward, different to any other champion really, and that means you're going to have to start from scratch when you start to learn him. You have to learn the right time to go in, where to stick your soldiers, when to dive in and ult them backwards, and I guess kind of have the perception to hit or zone the AD carry in the backline. A high elo Azir can literally make me cry. He's one of the worst things ever to play against. You never get close to him, you can't gank him, and late game he's just going to kill you from a mile away. So at number 7 we have Kalista. I know she kind of sucks right now, but she fits this video perfectly, especially after her recent nerfs. Kalista actually is not that bad. For the record, I hate the changes by the way that they did, but she's not terrible. A challenger and master tier, she's really strong. In diamond she can be strong if you're pre-made with your support. Kalista in lane is very aggressive. A lot of it is knowing your limits and whether you can kill them or not. Like it's not really short burst trades, right? It's sustained damage and working out if you continue or back off. A lot of judgment calls which if you get wrong you get boned for. The new passive attack speed thing actually just kind of reinforces this whole idea. You need your support around you almost 24/7 now, and that just doesn't happen at lower ranks. They walk off all the time, they base at weird times. That doesn't even happen a lot in diamond, to be honest. Your ultimate also requires you to be thinking relatively the same as your support. At higher ranks most can kind of see the optimal play or a similar version of it, but at lower ranks people can be thinking completely different things. With all of these things together, knowing her rend damage, kiting, the lane phase, team fights, the whole team reliance, they all add up to make her much better at higher ranks. So the last one before we jump into our top 5 is going to be Gangplank, and I think most people actually know he has the potential to just hard carry a game completely by himself. It's hard to explain, and I'm not really sure whether saying he's hard to play is the right way of putting it. For me, maybe it's just like he takes a lot of practice. Gangplank at like Diamond, even Plat, can be really strong. If he triple barrels correctly and farms like a monster, then there's not really too much you can do to stop him in a fight. So saying that, you can still do well at lower ranks too. Maybe not so much bronze because you need some time to farm up, but even at gold he can be really effective if you learn him. There are a few things though that I think make him better at higher ranks though. So he's very item reliant, so you need to get gold as fast as possible. That means you have to farm well, you have to ult around the map when team makes plays to get assists or kills and not get spanked and ruined in lane. All of those things I think should be a little bit more consistent, higher up at least. And then you actually have like the actual mechanics. So your ult placement can be a little bit awkward in fights. You have to have your barrel placement and triple barrels in team fights. I think honestly when fully mastered, GP is one of the best at higher ranks, but he's still effective in the middle ranks like silver, gold, plat, which means I'm keeping him at number 6. Okay, so the first one in our top 5 is going to be Shen, kind of actually from the complete opposite reason to Gangplank. Shen is really good right now in my opinion. I think he offers a lot, he has some decent damage and is one of the best tanks you can actually play after everything in Season 6. The problem is he is literally the most team reliant champion in the entire game. He can't do much without a good team at all. The basics of Shen that could be different I guess between high and low elo, so the correct timing of your W to cancel autos, your taunt flash, the correct time to use your ultimate, the map awareness to use it in the first place, maybe lane trading as well. Like you can actually do decently well top. The thing is ulting doesn't do very much unless your team actually use it. Like at lower ranks you're going to ult to react to a play the enemy team has made. Chances are your team runs away, they're not ready for it, nothing else happens, or they flash away, which is so awkward. At higher ranks you can use this to go more aggressive though. So you ult when your team dives or when they take a fight. Basically you're using the shield, but more importantly you're using you as you're brought into the fight. Shen is honestly amazing for aggressive plays as well as defensive, and I think that's the biggest reason why he's not that great at lower ranks, but the higher you get the better his win rate gets. And number 4 is going to be Cassiopeia, probably one of the highest APM champs in League, which is actions per minute by the way, so kind of how much you need to do. I think that is part of it anyway. The best champions at lower ranks tend to have simpler kits so you can focus on the game itself more, like a Mumu or Annie. Cassio is the opposite. You have to consistently move, aim your skill shots, spam your fangs, all while positioning correctly, not dying, hitting the right target and worrying about everything else in the game. That is just honestly a ton of things to think about, and her damage is persistent, right? It's not really burst, so you have to manage all of those things for quite a long time in a fight. I do definitely think this is one where the actual champion mechanics plays a bigger part than most. She's just kind of hard to play anyway, which in theory means that she'll be better in a higher skill player's hands. Your team is also kind of relevant, so you need some time to scale up in the game, right? You're not that great early, which means ideally your jungler should help you and keep you alive. At least in higher elo that is what happens. Plus in teamfights it takes time to kill people. That means your team needs a proper engage, not to get caught and die before you're able to stack up your damage. So as with all of these videos, I want you guys to guess the top 3 before we jump into them, and let's see how many of you are on the same page as me. A bronze medal for champions that are better in diamond and above is Aurelion Sol. One of the most underrated champions in the entire game since his release, and part of that is just because his kit seems really weird, or at least it's kind of hard to get to grips with and be able to read what you're supposed to do. In bronze, silver, even gold, this guy hasn't played very much and has a crap win rate, but as soon as you get to diamond he jumps really high up. I actually think if you use his kit correctly, he does a lot, like a stun, a very long range roam, AoE ultimate damage, and a huge zoning AoE ring of damage around him. That I think is probably one of the biggest things. A lot of his damage comes in ticks from that circle of orbs, and it's so awkward to hit consistently while still positioning in the correct place. We have said this a few times, but Aurelion Sol isn't really a burst champion, and that's kind of what lower ranked team fights tend to look like. We ideally want to kite, we want to chase people down and slowly chunk their health bars, so while I think there is quite a big barrier for getting used to him, there's also one learning how to play with him on your team. In a way, he's a lot like Cassio to me, awkward damage that takes some time getting used to, and it's just not as easy as like a LeBlanc combo or a Victor laser. So that actually leads quite nicely into my silver medal spot, which is taken by Rek'Sai. She is like the queen of the jungle at higher elo, one of the worst win rates at lower ranks, but at diamond and above she becomes extremely popular and effective. It's basically impossible to gank or take an objective for free with a Rek'Sai on the enemy team. She's gonna ult, she's gonna get across the map and punish you for trying to do stuff, which is really strong when people are on the same page and a little bit coordinated. So the first thing is you have to have a network of tunnels ready to use, something a lot of players don't actually do, but without them in the first place you can't move around properly. Then you have to rely on your team to actually react. They have to bait them in or turn around with you, and before all of this has happened you have to have the map awareness and timing to get there before it's too late. Your damage isn't very straightforward. Some are going to bite too early, and actually the biggest thing probably is the flash and burrow is like the bread and butter of a high elo Rek'Sai. A lot of people don't want to flash to engage in a gank at lower ranks. That hesitation and kind of reluctance to use it aggressively is actually a really big difference. In bronze, silver, gold, even plat, you ideally want to become unkillable or have enough damage to carry yourself. You don't really want to rely on your team to play fights properly and let you counter gank or contest objectives with you. So when I had my first draft, I actually really wanted to put Rek'Sai first on here, to be honest, but when researching this video, it's just the biggest difference from a low elo player to a high elo player when playing Nidalee. That is just a massive difference between how effective Nidalee can be at different ranks, honestly. And like, this video is supposed to be about two things, right? More effective on a better player and more effective surrounded by better teammates. This is basically just the first thing. The better at Nidalee you are, the better of a player in general you are, the more you're going to be able to carry a game. Now there are a few things I think that make the biggest difference. So the first thing is it's all about you being proactive, ganking at the right time, the right lanes, and snowballing. Nidalee is not a late game champion. You win early, you win hard, or you probably lose. A high elo player should have a better grasp of jungling as a whole, how to carry, what lanes can be ganked and what time to do it, what to do with their lead, and in general how to end the game with it rather than let it stall out until they become useless. The problem I think at lower ranks is that players don't gank as hard, they don't snowball very well, and they don't use a lead like they should if they do actually get it. That kind of just like stalls the game out to mid or late game where she isn't as effective and you've dug yourself this hole that you can't get out of. Anyway, so thank you again to Pro Guys for editing this together for me. Remember to like, subscribe, comment and share, but for now let's go to the robots.